You can now subscribe and save 20% off with a Strava Craft Coffee subscription. 2, 3, 4, 6, or 8 weeks are your options, and they'll send that stuff straight to your door. You won't have to put in your credit card information ever again. You won't have to worry about when you need to go get coffee. In fact, I just ran out of coffee this morning, so I need to take my own advice here and get in on a Strava Craft Coffee subscription. DNVR20 is the code if you just want to try out Strava Craft Coffee for the first time, or you can come on down to the DNVR bar and have some of the Strava Craft Coffee cold brew that we have on tap there. Ice cold and delicious. So check out Strava Craft Coffee and consider subscribing to get it sent to your door every 2, 3, 4, 6, or 8 weeks.
Number one for the one and only DNVR. 2 goes out to Zach, Mace, RK, and the bar. 3 for Mr. B in that old trophy case. Number 4 we're still waiting for. Well, bring on the chase. Out on the field, a mile high, Broncos win is our desire. Couple with a breakfast crew and a friendly orange and blue to the bitter end. Come and join us at the DNVR. We are DNVR.
There it is, folks. That is one great way to start a podcast. Shout out Pleasure Horse. It gets better every time. I don't know how. I don't know even know how they do it. But great way. That is a great way to start your Friday or any day.
It's a fantastic way, man. This is going to be a feel-good Friday. I can tell already.
I can tell. I can't wait to hear Zach predict the Broncos win. It's going to be awesome. Welcome in to the DNVR Broncos podcast, presented by MSU Denver Online. MSUDenver.edu/online is the website. Check out all they have to offer. We're talking 750 total classes, all sorts of different hybrid programs that you can do. Whatever you're interested in, if you're interested in furthering your education in that area, MSU Denver Online can help with rigorous and affordable programs that bring the real world into the classroom. So check them out today at msudenver.edu/online.
My boys, what's up? Happy Friday, man. We are finally here. Chiefs week. And guys, the Broncos have a huge opportunity in 48 hours to really grab the NFL grab the NFL world and say, what's up? We're here. We're ready to compete.
I like how I do an intro to the podcast, then Zach does an intro to the podcast. I think Mace needs to start having his own intro to the podcast. Mace, you need a catchphrase that your wife makes up that she thinks that you say, even though you don't, and then we start saying it.
Yeah, you know what that catchphrase would be? It's something that she tells me to stop saying because now my daughter says it. It's if I'm frustrated. Oh, come on! or maybe I just say, screw this.
What a perfect drop from producer Allie.
Yeah, this is why we have a great producer like Allie behind the scenes. Otherwise this train wouldn't leave the station.
That was the timing was impeccable.
Yes.
All right, so I'll intro the podcast. Zach says my boys. May says screw this, and then we can go. By the way, Zach, I was thinking about that. Maybe that's just something you say in the morning, like when you go into the bathroom or something.
Wow.
Takes a peek down and just, my boys.
When I'm going to the bathroom. Maybe my girlfriend does say I do some weird things in my sleep. So maybe it's something I do in my sleep.
Could be. All right, let's jump in to this breakdown of the Chiefs game. Like you said, Zach, massive opportunity at hand here for the Broncos. And at 2-3, I don't think anyone really believes in the Broncos right now, nationally at least. All the haters, the Nick Wrights of the world, still believe they are right about the Broncos. And I think if they win this week, they'll have matched his win prediction for the whole season. And wouldn't that be sweet if they did it against his Kansas City Chiefs?
I've got the tweet ready. if it happens.
Oh,
Since he's already tweeted at me for ripping him, it is sitting, it is on my desktop, it is poised for a hopeful upset on Sunday when I can say, hi, Nick.
yes. Well, I don't know if that's going to happen, but I do know that you're going to get to use that tweet eventually. So that's nice to have. We've talked a little bit about what the game plan looks like for this team on the defensive side of the ball. I don't think we've talked enough about it offensively. So we'll circle back to the defense, but I want to start on offense. And Zach, I'll start with you. What do you think is the plan? What would be your plan to not only attack this Chiefs defense, but the funny thing about the Chiefs is you always have to be thinking about their offense, whether you're on offense or defense. So how would you want to attack this defense, and how would you use your offense to try and mitigate what they do on their offense?
The Broncos have to have the same mindset that they had against the Patriots last week, and that is ultra aggressiveness. And now the Broncos may not have the lead in the fourth quarter, so they can keep that aggression going in the fourth quarter without getting bashed for it. And that's what they need to do. Now, it doesn't just mean deep shots down the field. It means just not being afraid to use your best plays, use the plays that you want to use. And it's going to come all around the field. It's going to come in the middle of the field with your tight ends, with Noah Fant and Alberto. Loved that Pat Shurmur committed himself to that yesterday. I love that. Really looks like Alberto is going to be active this week, even with Noah Fant back. You got to take shots to Jerry Jeudy on the outside. Also, Tim Patrick as well. He's proved that he's a player. And then use Phillip Lindsay and Melvin Gordon on the field at the exact same time. I think that's an aggressive mindset, and I love that. I think we're going to see all of this week. But just because you're playing the Chiefs, don't just think, okay, we just have to keep Patrick Mahomes on the sideline. We just have to run the ball 3 times in a row. We have to run this clock. No, do what you're going to do, because I know Mace disagrees, but
Completely.
I don't think you're going to win this game by controlling the clock. You're going to win this game by keeping up with the Chiefs offense, and you're not going to do that by not playing your game.
Yeah, and I don't think that this offense is at a point where it's capable of keeping up with the Chiefs if they're attacking and being aggressive. So you've got to be judicious. You need some long drives. You need to control the clock. You need to keep Patrick Mahomes off the field, and preferably you need to make sure that you've got the ball for 35 minutes, because very few teams have done that to the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes starting, but the ones that have controlled the ball for 35 minutes, they're 6-1 against the Chiefs. Maybe you've got a deep shot here and there, but this needs to be in the parlance of Hank Stram, a matriculate the ball down the field game. And yeah, you can use Melvin Gordon and Phillip Lindsay at the same time. But this game, if the Broncos are doing what they need to do to win, they need some drives that consume 5 minutes. They need some third down conversions that can come out of third and short. They need consistently 5 yards, 6 yards, 5 yards, 7 yards, and they need to stay on schedule. And a key to that is making sure that on first down, let's say you decide to take a shot and be aggressive and have Drew Lock go back to throw. Well, you can't have him holding the ball so long to where you're running the risk of having a sack or having some other play that knocks you off schedule.
Yeah, and Mace H-Town Bronco chiming in as well says Lock won't win in a shootout. I love Lock, but let's be real. Kind of going along with what you're saying, Mace. And my counter to that is you're not beating Patrick Mahomes if you don't get in a shootout. Patrick Mahomes is 28 or maybe, I think 28-2 in the 30 games where the opponent has not scored 31 points or more. So when you play a close game in the 20s, you're not winning. Patrick Mahomes is not going to lose to you. However, when you do beat them, it's by getting in a shootout. And it seems crazy to say that. And that's why I'm saying, let Patrick Mahomes beat you. Don't let them be two-dimensional. It goes against everything you would think. I feel crazy saying it for a third day in a row. But when opposing teams score 31 or more points against the Chiefs are 3-8. So to me, it goes against everything you would think, but do that.
And a reason why they're able to get those points is because they're able to have long drives. You look at the games that the Chiefs lose with Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, and look at their time of possession. It's 29-37, 23-51, 24-42, 24-58, 27-49, 20-53. The outlier is Tennessee with Derrick Henry last year when the game in Nashville, not the AFC Championship game, when the Chiefs held the ball for 37-52. So you've got to be able to score points, but you've got to do it in a way that plays keep away from the Chiefs and keeps Patrick Mahomes standing there on the sideline with his helmet under his arm rather than going out there. If the Broncos, in an attempt to be aggressive, go 3 and out, that's killer. That's what they've got to avoid.
Man, you both make some really convincing points, and I don't think you can really say anything here without feeling crazy, because if you're Zach, you feel crazy because you're saying, you're going against conventional wisdom, but I feel crazy because I'm going against what the numbers are telling us, which is, Zach's plan here. I just think you have to possess the ball. Now, you can possess the ball and score 30 points. And so maybe that's, the perfect scenario here is you have long drawn out drives that end in touchdowns.
It's what the Raiders did.
Yes, exactly. But at the same time, what changed that game for the Raiders is a bomb touchdown to Henry Ruggs at the end of the first half. And then I think they got another one later in the game. So there's no perfect answer to this. And that's why the Chiefs hardly ever lose, because teams that are easy to game plan for get game planned against and they lose. I will say this though, I do think you have to run the ball. I think you need to keep your defense off the field, and I think all of that can go together. I think there is a mesh point between these plans where it meets up. But Zach, I think you're right. You can't be afraid to create big plays. That's just silly. They're gonna have to go and be aggressive. And I loved what Pat Shurmur said yesterday. I absolutely loved it. He said, we thought we could be aggressive in this game last week, and I think that's the way we need to be every week. I was like, the best thing I've ever heard him say. I'm like, yes, please continue to be aggressive. Love seeing Drew Lock go downfield in one-on-one matchups, and they're gonna have to do that again in this week. So I think there's a meeting point in the middle, but I do lean towards possession being very important, converting, 3 or 4 third downs on one drive, going out there and having a 7-minute scoring drive, I think could be really, really important for the momentum in the game.
Yeah, and there's no doubt that the best game plan against the Chiefs is just combining everything that we're all saying in terms of long drives, and you also hit on big plays, and that's what the Raiders were able to do. They had some long sustained drives, but they hit 2 60-yard touchdown passes in that game. That's aggression right there. Now, the Broncos, they have the formula on offense to be able to do both of these things. They have the big-time playmakers in Jerry Jeudy, Noah Fant, Alberto to make these big plays when you need them. And they also have the guys in Melvin Gordon and Phillip Lindsay to grind it out when you do that as well. So the Broncos have the formula there. But are they going to be the team that's kicking 6 field goals when they're in scoring range? Or, on the opposite side, if they were to have scored touchdowns on all 6 of those possessions last week, that's 40 points. That beats the Chiefs. That's exactly what the Oakland Raiders did a couple of weeks ago. If you meet in the middle and you get 3 and 3, you're at 30 points and you're right there. Maybe you'll lose by 1 or 2 points, but you are right there with the Kansas City Chiefs. And also, if you score 30, you're giving yourself a pretty good shot as well. So the Broncos don't need to be perfect. They don't need to go 6 for 6. But they can't go anywhere close to 0-6 and just be kicking 6 field goals.
Well, they don't need to be perfect, but in order to make that work, they've got to do some of the things the Raiders did. I mean, and sometimes you've got to kind of rein in your aggressive instincts here. Oakland ran more than it threw. Oakland was willing to kind of take the grinded out type of plays. I mean, their running game, it was just okay. They averaged 4.1 yards per carry. It was nothing special. But part of that was, if this is going to be part of your game plan, and it should be part of your game plan if you're the Broncos, you have to stick with it. And a key to sticking with it is making sure that you don't fall victim to that early ambush from the Chiefs. Because if you look up and you're down 10 points at the end of the first quarter, or you're down 13 points in the second quarter, you're ditching your game plan, and this thing is probably lost. So we've talked a lot about what the Broncos can do against the Chiefs defense. But look, this is also incumbent on the Broncos defense not letting the Chiefs get to a point where this thing is out of hand early.
Yeah, like Vance Joseph and his offensive staff always used to say, you just got to play with the lead. Yeah, of course. You always want to play with the lead.
You don't have to have a lead. You just need to have it within one score either way. I mean, you can be behind by 7 points, and that's fine. You can stick with your game plan all the way through an entire game if you're behind by 7, because you're one score back from tying the game. That's the key. Don't get down multiple scores in this game. That's where that's the prescription for disaster against the Chiefs is when you get behind by 10 or more points. Then you're chasing, and then they're able to attack you more, and then when you try to be aggressive, they're able to pounce on that. So that's if it's the second quarter and it's 17-7, and I'm getting a little bit nervous.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, this can change depending on how the game is going. But I would tell my team going into this game, look, if we are between our 45 and their 30, and we have a fourth and less than 3, we're going. Like, just prepare. Don't even start walking off the field. We are going for it. Now, maybe that changes. Maybe you're in a game where you're down 3 and you just want to take the field goal and tie up the football game. But I strongly believe that the Broncos should have a philosophy going into this one of don't even start walking off the field. Stay out there, get in the huddle, line up, and let's go get this, because I don't understand when teams punt the ball back, like just happily punt the ball back to Patrick Mahomes. So you might as well just, tell the scoreboard operator, put 7 up. We're gonna pack it in here and lose. You have to be so aggressive against this team. And the thing is, they do that to you. It's not like you're being uber aggressive and they're being conservative and just waiting for you to, overextend yourself. No. I promise you they're going to go for multiple 4th downs in this game because they trust their offense. So Broncos got to do the same thing. Got to go get it. Okay, we talked about this a lot this week, so we don't have to get too deep into it. But let's move on to the defensive side of the ball. Just see, are you sticking with what you originally thought? Because I know I am. I still believe. Give them a light box. Let them run the ball. I'm putting that in air quotes there. You don't want to let them do anything, but invite them to run the ball. And you have the guys in there. You have Mike Purcell. You have Shelby Harris. The guys in there who can make plays in the run game. Bradley Chubb. Invite them to run the ball. Win some one-on-one matchups. Beat them at that game. Keep them in 3rd and 5, 3rd and 4, even 3rd and 3, and make plays. Rather than what I think is the recipe for disaster, which is you get Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball and he gets hot, and they don't even start. They'll go multiple drives without even seeing 3rd down.
Yeah, Ryan, I understand where you're coming from, but I'm sticking with my guns as well. And I think you do the opposite. You do not let the Kansas City Chiefs get 2-dimensional, because one thing we know, whether they're 1-dimensional with Patrick Mahomes clicking or whether they're 2-dimensional, Patrick Mahomes is still going to be clicking. So you're not going to slow him down. So why would you let them have a second dimension to their offense, especially when it's Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who's the 2nd or 3rd leading rusher in the NFL right now? They have a formula there, and they can do whatever they want. So I'm taking half of that away from them. And again, as crazy as it is, you let Patrick Mahomes beat you. You don't let the entire Kansas City Chiefs offense beat you. And I know it's crazy to say that, but the Chiefs, when they run the ball over 100 yards, are nearly impossible to stop. You look at their losses, it's when Patrick Mahomes is getting in shootouts. It's when he's putting up tons and tons of yards. Now, yes, can he also win games putting up tons and tons of yards? Yes, but it's very difficult to beat the Chiefs when they go over 100.
It's such an interesting conversation. I liken it to basketball a lot, because basketball, it's so much more obvious when, there's a dominant player on the court. And so many times there's, conflicting game plans that, depending on the coaches. I think of Kobe as one who a lot of coaches would have wanted to say, like, let Kobe get his. Don't let the other guys around him get hot, because as soon as he's driving and dishing and all these guys are making their open shots, you'd say the same thing about LeBron too. You might be better off letting LeBron get his and not letting him get his teammates involved, because that's obviously what he wants to do. He's wired to make the right play, get his teammates involved, and you'd much rather have a ice cold Danny Green trying to shoot a game winner than LeBron shooting it. So I understand where you're coming from, Zach. You're saying let Mahomes get his. He's going to get it whether you like it or not. I can't go there. I think that every time that he willingly takes the ball and gives it to someone else without throwing it, I think it's a win for the defense.
Well, and the other thing is, I mean, the basketball football comp kind of breaks down here, unfortunately, in terms of the impact the quarterback has on the overall game compared to even a great player like LeBron James. So, yeah. I mean, there are things that I can't get, that I have trouble getting past, and one of them right now is that even though on the surface you'd say, yeah, I'm not terribly concerned about the Chiefs' ability to run. They're still 23-1 when they go over 100 yards. And the thing that we've seen this year is that they, more than at any point since Mahomes became the starter, if you give them the run, they just take it and say thank you. So how do you avoid that? First of all, you can't have mistakes. I mean, this is a game where if you're going to contain the run, you guys mentioned Mike Purcell, Shelby Harris. First of all, those guys up front have to have big games. And I would say that in particular, the guys going up against Mitchell Schwartz over on the right side, since he hasn't practiced at this point this week, there's an opportunity there for them to get some penetration and attack against the run without sacrificing coverage on the back end. And then this is a game where you can't miss tackles, and you can't let a 2-yard run become a 6-yard run.
And you can't miss sacks.
Yeah, you've got. I would say in terms of opportunities and capitalizing on them, it may even be more important on the defensive side to capitalize on those moments where if you've got missile lock on Mahomes, you bring him down. If you've got Edwards-Helaire in the flat on a handoff, you make sure that he's brought down after 2 or 3 yards rather than letting him get 6 or 7. You have to be nearly flawless on the defensive end right now, because the Chiefs are getting a little bit of that Patriots with Tom Brady in them, in that whatever you give them as a defense, they'll take, and they'll win, and they can win with.
Yeah. One mistake that they definitely can't make is if Drew Lock executes a perfect zone read and runs 80 yards down the field, he can't trip over his own feet and keep himself out of the end zone.
Oh, Ryan, you probably loved it cheering for the Eagles last night. That was so sad. I felt so bad for Daniel Jones.
The only thing that kept that play from being the single play that would encapsulate Daniel Jones's career to this point was that he held on to the ball.
Oh my God! Could you imagine?
If he had fumbled, it would have been the perfect summation of the Daniel Jones experience all at once. So a play that tantalizes, and then a fumble. I mean, this is that dude has got some serious. He's got some serious ball security issues right now.
Yes.
And did you guys see he hit 21 miles an hour on that run?
The fastest run by a quarterback since 2008 or something, or was it 2018?
I think it was 2018, but
Okay.
Which makes me think not as impressive. And then I think, oh my gosh, no, Lamar Jackson is still in this league. Kyler Murray is. That's wild.
And it's not like Lamar has never gotten in the open field and been running on a beeline. I remember that happening in a game this year.
Yeah, exactly.
That's unbelievable. I still can't. That is why you have to watch Thursday Night Football. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Who's on the screen? Thursday Night Football will provide something beautiful every week.
It was a fantastic game, despite the records being absolutely terrible.
First place Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh my gosh.
2-4-1.
Yeah, the Broncos would be first in that division right now.
I said before the podcast, Broncos will be the best team in NFC East by a wide margin.
Yeah, that is wild.
I truly believe that. And I truly believe that this Broncos team going into this game this weekend is the best chance they've had at beating the Chiefs so far in the Patrick Mahomes era. Now, they got really close. They probably should have won one already. So, I'm confident in this team's abilities, and I think this is the way they're playing, the momentum boost that the defense got last week. I think this is their best chance they've had so far.
Actually, I'd say the best chance they had was, strangely enough, with Paxton Lynch starting, because that was Patrick Mahomes' first start. At the end of 2017. Right. I'm totally cheating on that. Right. Well, remember, that was also the Tyler Bray game. The Chiefs actually thought they'd had it salted away, so they pulled Mahomes, and then they put him back in after the Broncos came back, just to get a tease, just to provide a tease for everybody of what Patrick Mahomes could do in a late game scenario, trying to drive the team downfield to the game-winning points.
Yeah. I should have known when after the game, Aqib Talib was like, "Yo, that Mahomes kid is legit." Like, he said off camera, I was like, "Huh."
Yeah.
I mean, Paxton Lynch had better stats than him today.
The thought that echoed through my mind throughout that game was, this guy is going to be a problem for the next 15 years. But that being said, I didn't see the degree to which he would explode. I thought the Chiefs had found their long-term quarterback. I didn't think they would find somebody who is literally off to the greatest start in just under 40 games of anybody at quarterback in the history of the NFL.
Yeah, when I was watching him that game, I was thinking, man, in 3 years, this guy's going to be an MVP, a Super Bowl MVP, and he's probably going to get a $500 million contract.
Man, I knew he was good. I definitely, I thought he's just like, oh, well, the Chiefs finally got a good quarterback. I don't know how much better he is than Alex Smith. Like, that's what I'm just being honest. That's what I thought after that game.
When the Chiefs drafted him, I thought he was going to be kind of a Brett Favre type. And he's kind of that, just without any of the mistakes. So I thought he was going to be way more mistake prone, and he hasn't been that.
Yeah. And then he threw, 3 interceptions in 10 minutes in practice?
Yeah. Got a great tweet that keeps popping up. I'm sure it'll pop up this weekend.
Zach will never live that one down.
And you posted the popcorn gif right away.
Some Chiefs fans have tried to dunk on my response to you, and I was like, no, this is what I expected to happen.
Right. Guys, yesterday John Elway talked to Phil Melania of DenverBroncos.com, and Phil told him, it's a 9-game losing streak, and John had no idea that it was a 9-game losing streak from the Chiefs, and he just said, oh, that's very what was the word he used? I don't even remember the word, but he was just blown away he said, oh, that's so depressing.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, John, it is.
It's got to be extra hard for John Elway, because he's just he can't even imagine that, when he was on the field, there's just no chance the Chiefs could have beat the Broncos 9 times in a row. You know what I mean?
Yep. And he doesn't get to control that on the field anymore. I'm not envious of what that probably feels like. No.
The last thing that I think we really need to talk about in this game, and maybe the element, no pun intended, of this game that we haven't talked nearly enough about this week, is the weather. It's going to be freezing, just like that game that Patrick Mahomes made his first start in. And it's going to potentially be snowing during the game. And guys, I can't get past this. It is the biggest roadblock between me and predicting a Broncos win. Mahomes he gets better as the weather gets worse. Actually, this is the way I would say it. I used to say this when I played FIFA in high school and college. Me and my buddies would play FIFA all the time, and I would say, I'm not better at FIFA when I'm drunk, but all of you get worse, and I stay about the same. And so I have a way better record when we're all drunk. And that's how I feel about Patrick Mahomes. Everyone else gets worse, and he just stays the same when the weather gets bad. And I I can't get past it.
Yeah, and what I can't get past is last year's game. Now I know Drew was younger, just making his second career road start. It was his first snow game, and as we talked to Drew earlier this week, he says, "Well, I learned from that game that I can still throw in the snow, so that's good." But Ryan, like you're saying, last year in that game, Patrick Mahomes went 27 of 34 for 340 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did have 1 pick, but still 115 passer rating. And on the flip side, and I'm not killing Drew for this, but he had less than a 50% completion, 200 yards, 1 touchdown, no touchdowns, 1 interception, and a 50 passer rating. And just how inept the Broncos offense looked. I know it's so different now with more weapons and stuff, but that to me is so hard to point to and say, this helps the Broncos in this game because it slows the Chiefs down. I don't think it slows them down.
Well, let me ask you guys this. What do you think is a wind speed at which it starts to affect how you pass the ball?
I don't know. 30 miles per hour.
Okay, because the forecast on Sunday is for 10-mile-an-hour winds, which it's notable but normal. It's nothing that Patrick Mahomes can't work through. So unfortunately, unless you're talking about 20, 25 miles per hour, a snowy day is going to favor him. It's going to favor the offense. It should favor the offenses in general, but that was one example of where last year in Kansas City, Mahomes and his receivers, they've worked together for 2 years at that point. They're in sync. They know what each other is doing. Drew Lock was in start number 3. So if it's a snowy day, I think it'll help Patrick Mahomes against the Broncos defense, but I don't think Drew Lock will be hurt in the same way that he was last year because he has accumulated snaps with Noah Fant, Tim Patrick, Philip Lindsay. Not so many with Jerry Jeudy, of course, but that's starting to get there. And because of that, I think he has a better chance to be able to capitalize off a snowy but not terribly windy day and make some plays. Because remember, on a snowy day, it's the footing that goes, and that usually favors the receivers.
While we're talking about this, we had a comment saying that they thought Mace looks like actor Ty Sheridan. Do any of you know who that is?
I don't.
All right, maybe producer Alec can bring up a picture of what Ty Sheridan. I want to see how this guy was imagining Mace. But yeah, the snow is. It doesn't help the Broncos. Like there's just no one can make that case. Yeah, right. I will say it's not going to be. I don't think it's going to look like that Kansas City game. I mean, that wasn't just a snow game. That was like playing at a ski resort, basically.
Wow.
Can we see it? Pull up that first top left picture, Allie. That is amazing.
I guess if I shave the fuzz here, maybe let the hair go, let the bang, let it kind of cascade down the back here, get a little bit of. I mean, that's not a mullet that he's got going, but it's a little bit of party in the back that Ty Sheridan's got going on in that photo.
Mace, the picture right next to it where he's kind of giving the dead stare. Can you give us one of those right now?
Ah,
There it is.
That's amazing. Everyone listening on the podcast side of things didn't enjoy that as much as us, but that's just an encouragement for you to watch our lives. And I encourage you, if you're watching this live right now, to go over, hit us with a thumbs up on the video. We always appreciate those. And then maybe go over and subscribe to the channel. And if you're really feeling saucy, sign up for the alerts. It's right next to the subscribe button, just a little bell. You just click it, and now it makes that sound maybe. And now you're set up for alerts whenever we go live and drop new videos. Anyways, we have reached the time to give our predictions. Should we do the rest of the AFC West first?
Let's go around the AFC West, and let's start with a game that just doesn't have much sizzle at all. You have the Jaguars going into Los Angeles to play the Chargers. Chargers 7.5 point favorites in this game.
The who? Did you say Jaguars?
Yes,
we do this
Jaguars.
every time. We do this every time. Very clearly, Jaguars.
Jaguar, yes. I am not taking the Jaguars in this game, even though they're getting 7.5 points. I've got to go with the Chargers here. I think they're coming off a bye. They didn't expect to have the bye, but they got it. And this is the softest team that Justin Herbert has seen. I think he lights them. I think he lights up the Jags in this game.
Interesting. When the Broncos got their bye week after the week had already happened, I thought to myself, I made the comparison. It's like you went to school all week and then they said, that's spring break. The Chargers got the opposite of that. They, were packing up their bag, getting ready for class. And then someone said, you just got the week off. And it was probably an amazing feeling for them. I think they come back refreshed and go ahead and put a whooping on the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Man, I have to just go against you guys.
No, you don't.
I think the Chargers win this game, but I guess because I'm in chase mode right now, I'll go with the Jaguars, but the Chargers will win. Justin Herbert will get his first win in the NFL.
Oh, I forgot that the Chargers don't know how to win.
Yes, they don't know how to win. And Minshew kind of knows how to win.
Minshew is a winner.
I mean,
I love it.
Talented as Justin Herbert is, he's working against some serious inertia toward defeat that the Chargers have built over these many years.
I'm changing my pick.
Oh,
okay.
No.
You can switch yours now, Zach. I'm taking the Jags straight up.
Oh,
wow.
So the Chargers just aren't going to win this season.
Exactly.
I love it.
I'm going off sample size here, Zach. I'm doing what you did with the Chiefs. So I got to follow the numbers here.
Fair. There you go. The next game in the AFC West is the Bucks, 2.5-point favorites going into Oakland. Now, I did check this line last night. It may have switched right now, so I can look up an updated line. But going into the Raiders, the game was just moved from prime time to the afternoon in case they have to change it to Monday or Tuesday, because right now, guys, the Raiders don't have their starting safety. And by the way, they don't have their entire starting offensive line.
And that's why right now our friends at DraftKings have this one off the board.
Yeah.
I would have to imagine if there was a line right now, it would be way bigger than 3 for the Bucks.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So there's a chance that the offensive line can all be cleared on Sunday morning, which is like, what happens if they're not? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I guess it's going to be a last-minute postponement if there is one. Even then, though, you got to go the whole week without your offensive line in practice. That can't be good. So I'm going to pick the Bucks. We're kind of like regardless of the spread.
Yeah. Why are they clinging to saying we can try to get this thing on Sunday? I mean, you've done it before. Just punt this game to Tuesday afternoon.
Oh, yes. We would love that.
Yeah. Or Tuesday night. I would love to come home at 6:00 on Tuesday and watch Bucks Raiders.
Yeah, everyone would.
The Gruden Bowl. I mean, the storylines in this game are so rich. There's a between Tom Brady and John Gruden going up against his former team, the Bucks. There's a reason why NBC wanted this game in prime time when they drew up the schedule back in the spring. So put it in its rightful spot. Put it in prime time. Have the game take place on Tuesday night, but it doesn't matter when they're playing this game. The Raiders' offensive line, even if they are back to full strength, the Bucks really look like they're at full strength. And oh, by the way, I think the Bucks have a front 7 advantage against the Raiders' offensive line. Give me Tampa Bay, baby.
Oh, man, guys, I totally agree with you. I'm going to go Raiders with whatever the spread is. The offensive line doesn't need practice, guys. That's overrated. They're going to learn from the Tennessee Titans here. And Derek Carr and Josh Jacobs are going to run all over the Bucks.
We love you too, Adel 351075554.
It just rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it?
I think that's an old song that was famous.
No, that's 8675309.
351075554.
Oh, and it's sung by Adele.
Oh yes, that's correct.
The other Adele.
And final game in the AFC West, guys. We got an AFC West showdown here. The Kansas City Chiefs, 9-point favorites coming into Denver on a snowy, freaking cold day in the Mile High City. And the Denver Broncos looking to extend their 2-game win streak to 3 and get back to 500. Who do you have in this game?
Well, there was a very profound and famous quote by a philosopher by the name of Vance Joseph. And he said, when it's cold, it's tough. And so this is going to be a tough one for the Broncos. But they are the kings of the world against the spread, and I believe that stays alive. They move on to 5-1 against the spread, but unfortunately lose this game 27-20.
Yeah. I mean, actually, our friends at DraftKings have this at 9.5 right now.
Yes.
30-21 Chiefs.
Just covering the
cover
spread.
City, baby.
Hey, good teams win, great teams cover, right?
Yes. Whoever came up with that statement just missed 2 very important words. Good teams win, great teams win and cover.
Right. Guys, I like the Broncos in this one.
Oh.
I like them to cover the spread.
Oh.
And I like them to cover the spread of 9.5. Really, I think it's going to be a 7-point game. But I think at the end of the day, we're coming away from this game saying we like what the Broncos are doing right now. We like where they're headed. Broncos go to 2-4, but we like where they are. I'm going 30-23.
Yeah. How they get there kind of matters, I would say. If it's 30, we're talking like, say, the scores that Zach and I have. You and I, Zach, both have them giving up 30, and you have them scoring 23. I have them scoring 21. If the last points in the game are scored by the Chiefs in getting to that score, you feel pretty good. I mean, you're lamenting a tough loss, but you're saying you hung with them. If the last score comes from the Broncos, in my score, for example, if the Broncos are down 30 are down 30-14, well, then they probably wouldn't make it 30-21 because if they are down 30-20 late and they don't go for 2, they're idiots. But I digress. But yeah, if anyhow. Anyway, so
if you're down 30-14 at any point during this game, it's a disappointment.
Yeah,
unless
exactly.
Of course you come back and win.
Right. If you're scrambling late just to make the game closer, then I think it's fair to continue to have the same critiques that we've had of the Broncos. But if it's the Chiefs that make the late drive to win, you're saying, oh, it's heartbreaking, it's tough, but you know what? You're getting closer, and even though it's December in Arrowhead, the next time these teams meet, you're probably talking about playing in front of no more than 16,000 fans. Certainly not the same kind of intimidating environment. You can legitimately say, hey, maybe they'll get him in December on Sunday Night Football.
And my close game is that my close score is that it's actually a close game too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I agree. I think this one, the Broncos hang in there, and a lot of it's going to be on their defense. But I mean, they have to make some of those pass catchers are going to make those plays this week. They're professionals. I got to go with the law of averages here or something like that. Positive regression to the mean.
Good thing is Evan Ingram isn't on this team. Yikes. That was a brutal drop last night.
Oh, yeah. They should have had 2 long touchdowns.
Yep. Just what the Broncos were saying last week.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, on the live side of things, I think that's going to wrap it up for us. So thanks to everyone who tuned in on YouTube, Periscope, Facebook, wherever. Sorry that we got that song stuck in your head. It's stuck in my head, too. But we're going to move on.
Who do I turn to?
I actually don't recognize that lyric at all, but I do know
the song. I mean, you just look up Tommy Two-Tone, 8675309/Jenny.
Tommy Two-Tone is a sweet name. All right, we're going to move on to the podcast side of things. So everyone who tuned in on the live, thank you guys. We'll talk later.